Hey, Paulette. Thank you so much for having me. How everybody?
Of course. Listen, y'all, what you don't know is Marshaun is one of the very first of the Brownstone Podcast Network. She joined us when we only had two air personalities that had joined us, and she was the third. She was actually the first sister. So we're really excited about that. I'm proud of that. So you're coming up on your year, and I'm really excited to hear more about what is going on with you and your life as a shift relationship strategist, because that's a lot to chew on. So let's talk about that. What is a shift relationship strategist? Let's start there.
Okay, perfect. So a shift relationship strategist is a person, in my case, a woman, but a person who actually helps you to not only work on your relationship issues. My focus is romantic relationships. However, the majority of what I teach, the tools, the strategies, the information that I impart to you, it can be translated and taken over into any relationship in your life. So the shift part is I am shifting your mindset. I am shifting your perspective. And I'm also shifting your relationships on how you view them, your belief systems about them, how you're showing up, and even going deeper within yourself to shift and understand how you became you.
Okay, that's deep. So here's a question that I have for you, because it's something that we're going to be talking about a little bit later. So do you work with everybody, or is it just a certain group of people? Let's talk about that.
No, my primary demographic is Black women. Now, some people might ask why. So let me just go ahead and clear this up. First of all, it is because there are not a lot of spaces out here for Black women to just open up, let their hair down, where we don't have to explain why I might be coming in my bonnet or why I have my angry face. But I'm just resting. I'm listening. I'm taking it in. So I want there to be a specific space for Black women to come together to be able to let their hair down and to talk about issues that affect specifically Black women. Because even though I actually work with very successful Black women, but we still have the same issues all around. So like if I'm working with a doctor, she might be the only Black or very few Black doctor. The same thing with the lawyer, right? It's so very accomplished women, Black women in particular, but I want to just give us a space to come together, to let our hair down and to work on our issues, because they are powerful women in powerful positions. Sometimes we have a tendency to not be able to allow that power to stay outside the door.
I see.
Bring it inside the home. And this is where a lot of conflict can happen. So I don't work with everyone. Black women is my primary. I do, however, have worked with some very beautiful Black brothers as well. But that's a very small demographic for me. My primary is Black women on purpose.
On purpose. And I love that. And that's okay, right? Because just like you said, unapologetically, we do have to have our own spaces. So I'm curious, because I know the name of your show on the Brownstone Podcast Network is Love Restored.
Yes.
Let's dig into that, because your shows, especially the previous season, has been about the 10 lessons that. Let's dig into that. First of all, how in the world did you come up with that? Right? And then the name of the show, when you talk about Love Restored, because I think people got it wrong.
Okay, so let's start with the Love Restored topic of the show.
Okay.
Love Restored really came from me thinking about how I could get myself first, how I can get myself on the same playing field as my other non-melanated counterparts, specifically in the area of love. Being able to stay in love with my partner, being able to stay married to my partner. And I wanted to figure out why this was not happening. So I had to figure out and understand that it was because I didn't have the love that I needed in the first place. And I can't impart or receive love from somebody else if I don't have it for myself first.
I see.
So we have to get that love restored back into our life, because when we're first born into this world, we don't know anything. We love everybody, right? And then the world starts creeping in, whether it comes from your parent or guardian or outsiders telling you that you're not good enough, you're ugly, you're not pretty enough, not smart enough. We got all of these things that are coming on us all the time. And so I was just like, we have to restore our love for ourselves first before we jump into the relationships, ideally, and especially before we go down the road of being married to a person. Now, that's in a perfect world. We know that most of us have already been in relationships and or marriages. And so what I'm doing now is trying to pretty much get them to backtrack. Start working on you, because if you're still messed up, there's no way that your relationship is going to be healthy. There's no way that your marriage is going to be healthy. So before you walk away, if you're believing that you need to walk away, before you walk away, you have to start getting you together, building up your self-esteem, building up your confidence, looking yourself in the mirror, having those tough conversations with yourself before you can even think about having them with your spouse. So in an ideal world, I would rather work with women who have not been tainted. And when I say tainted, I mean going through a marriage that they shouldn't have been in the first place, and then being a divorcee. Because me, myself, let's just go down that road. I am a part of that statistic. And so can I just go there? Can I go there?
Of course, absolutely. Tell it.
So also it is very, very important for me to impart this wisdom to other, specifically Black women, because if they're anything like me, I did not grow up in a home where the strategies or tools were given to me. Now, it's kind of funny, but not really. It's funny because the relationships that I saw were not toxic. I come from a background where most, or I should say a lot of Black people don't, which is I came from relationships like all around me, right? And a lot of Black people come from a lot of toxicity. However, where the rubber meets the road and I can identify is I still wasn't taught anything. So I never got sat down and got the conversations, the choosing this or watch out for that, or that's a red flag. I wouldn't do. It was none of those things. So I still had to come out here and get
bumped upside the head, right? Yeah.
I had to come out here and learn my lessons. And so my whole thing is to really get Black women specifically to understand that the information is out there. You have to come get it from the right person or people. And you probably got to pay for it. Let's just go there too, right? You probably got to pay for the right information, because here's the thing: when you're talking to your girlfriends, when you're talking, they mean well, but if they can't step away from being your friend, being your ride or die, ready to just jump on, they're not going to be able to help you in the way that you really need to be helped. So your friends are great, yay, just for you to release. But as far as you getting past that, what's the next thing? How can you go back and apologize if it was your fault? Are they calling you to the carpet? Because we're not always right. We're not always showing up where it's always the man's fault. It's not always his fault. It might be his fault, but guess what? It may be yours too. And so are you owning what you have done? I'm going down a rabbit hole. I feel like I'm taking over.
No. This is, because see, here's the thing. This is what this is for. This is a lunch and learn. The idea is to give our audience, your audience, because you're part of the Brownstone Podcast Network. It is an opportunity for people to really dig in and dig deep, because they need to know when they're listening to your show on the air, or if they're watching it, what exactly you're presenting and providing to them, and then what sense of value that they're going to receive. Because, honey, listen, let me just say, for those of you all who are listening, we're in our break right now. And by the time you see this, we may not be, but I'm going to say this. The 10 things that is phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And right now, I was just sharing with you some of the numbers on the shorts from it. I was shocked. I was like, oh, this is good information. So this isn't about going down the rabbit hole. It's the truth of who you are and what you present to the people that need you. Because here's the thing, something that you just said, it wasn't taught. Very rarely did we see. Now I'm gonna tell you what I saw in my household. So now we may be going down the rabbit hole, but I don't think we are. When I grew up, it was the roles were played. Did I see love? I don't think that I did. What I saw were roles. Everybody knew their part. Mama stayed at home, and my family ran the business, and then we had the trucking company, and then the daycare center, and all of the things, right? And so Mama stayed at home, and she ran the daycare center. Daddy went out and ran the trucking company and did all of that. And so somewhere in between, I was taught to be a wife. This is the true story.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when your husband comes home and the dishes aren't washed, or the counter's not clean, or clean the house and wash the clothes and iron? And I thought to myself, I don't want to be Katie the cleaning lady. I almost lost my teeth behind that comment. But I was never taught love, right? Like love and respect, partnering, and things of that nature. Now, I'm not going to say to you that they did not love each other, because it was clear that they did until he passed, right? Yeah. However, what I will say is that it was not taught to us. I was taught to be a handmaid, a helpmate, someone that could wash and cook and clean and right? As long as I did that, and he was bringing home the bacon, and everybody was able to eat and survive, and the lights were on, we were good.
But you I'm sorry, you used the key word, survive.
Yes.
We are past the survival stages of being in relationship. That was a stage specifically for Black people because of our ancestors and our past, our history.
Yeah.
But we have gone past that. Is it 100% gone past it? No. But we are so much further away from that.
Yes.
Today than we were. So we don't want to survive anymore. We want to now thrive. We want to be thriving in our relationships.
Absolutely. And I think that I'm going to go further back, and it was something that I remember hearing my mother say to me once that kind of made me sad. And it always made me wonder about what true love and relationships were. Mm-hmm. So I had just started dating, and I dated the same young man all through high school. And so that's a whole rabbit hole by itself. And we're still really good friends. So I dated him all through high school. And I remember my mother saying something to me that stuck with me. She never said anything about love. She said, if he is spending time with you, and if you are intimate with him, the least he could do is buy you a pair of shoes. And I thought, what? And
I thought, say that again. Say it again. Yeah. Say it again. So, wait, say that again. One more again.
She said, if he is spending time with you and you are intimate with him, the least he could do is buy you a pair of shoes. So this is a business transaction? Like, I can't really care about this guy. I'm doing it because I want to. I like spending time with him. He makes me feel good. I love him, like for real, like, or at least what I thought was love back then. You know what I mean? And so I think, again, love was never brought up. It was always about, let's stick together. He's going to take care of you. You know what I mean? So help me to understand that.
Okay, let me answer this, and then I want to go back to the 10 lessons, because I never did answer that. Yeah. So I think that a lot of times we, as this newer generation from our parents, right? Because when you know better, you do better. And I think that because our parents did not want us to experience the things that they went through, they tried their best to impart what they could with the information and tools that they had.
Right.
And now that we are learning and taking in all this information, we're reading all of these things, and specifically to Black women, we are, we have all these degrees, so we got all this information in our heads, right? Sometimes it can hurt us, but by the same token, on the flip side of that is, it's really helping us to come out of up under all of the things that we saw. Yeah. And just taking on and breaking those generational curses, because we're seeing how research is actually catching up to say that, all of these feelings that we have, this abandonment or whatever the thing is that you're feeling, now we're able to articulate that. Yeah. And there are numbers behind it, like the statistics to say, this, and when we do this, this is what's showing up, or that's why that thing is showing up in your child. And so, we're learning a lot more. We're trying to do better. And I think that even as we go on, each generation will get better. So that's my understanding and why I believe that these things are happening. It's just we're getting better, and so they can only impart what they had, just like us as our parents, right? With our children, we can only impart what we have. So we're just trying to all do better. But now let me go back to the 10 lessons really quickly.
Yes, let's get into it.
So that series was birthed out of, I was really trying to sit there and just reflect and think about what I have learned, how I came to be the shift relationship strategist that you see sitting here before you today, because all of these lessons, they were just in me at this point. They're innate at this point.
Right.
But before then, when I was going through my when I was in that ugly dating stage and I was going through my up and down, not understanding why the relationship was not going any further, it was a lot of situationships. A lot of one-off dates, maybe 2, right? I was going through my roller coaster for 14, 17 some years, right? I was going through it. And one day I was just like, hold what you got. It's too much. Too much. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so I really had to start looking in the mirror and asking myself the tough questions. Why are you not getting to the next level with all of these dates that you keep having? You keep hearing your friends say that they ain't even getting no dates. You keep getting all these dates, but why are you not going to the next level with these men that you're dating? Now, some of them I shouldn't have been with, right? So there's that. But the ones that were like pretty decent, you know, I was like, you're the only common denominator in all of these failed situations. And so I had to call myself to the carpet.
Okay.
Marshaun, what are you doing? What is so bad about you that is turning all of these men off? And I had to really sit there and answer that question.
Wow.
I even took it so far, Paulette. When you are a decent person, at least this is my experience, what I hear with other women as well.
Yeah.
When you're a decent person, men know that, right? And so what I found is that whenever we would break up, a couple months would go by, right? And then all of a sudden a text, or it was a text back in the day. So the text would come. The text would go, hey, how you doing? I was thinking about you, something like that.
Yeah.
And so when those texts would come, so after I reached my breaking point of like, no, stop, hold up.
Yeah.
The text would come. I would say, hey, how you doing? You know, play along. And then I would ask him, can we meet? Because what they didn't know is that I wanted to interview them. Air quotes, because it wasn't like, hey, I want to interview. It was just like, why didn't we get to the next level? Like, what was I doing wrong? Like, seriously, we're past it. The feelings are gone, but I really want to know what I was not doing in order for you to get turned off, for us not to continue.
And move on. Yeah.
And they would give me the answers.
Really?
Yes. And so when I got the answers, so whoever I was talking to in that moment, I would take that information, and when I would start dating somebody else, I would now correct said behavior. And I just kept correcting. And it took a long time for me to get it together, right? But also because some of the men, like, you know, some was turned off on me, but I was also turned off by some. Right? Okay. So I was selective just as well. But the point is, everything that I learned, I started showing up differently the next time around. Okay, I didn't ask that question. Let me ask it now. I was a little bit more needy and clingy. Okay, let me back off a little bit more. So everything that they were telling me about what I was doing, I started becoming better in that area for the next man.
I see. So first of all, that took cojones for you to do that. That was huge. And then, so I'm curious, how did that feel, hearing people tell you to your face what was, like, I'm serious. Like, I don't know if I could have taken that. I probably would have got up and walked off like, who you think you is? I was so hot. Yeah.
It wasn't bad for me. I have to say, in that moment, I didn't have any feelings at all. I literally was going to collect data.
Oh.
I didn't have no feelings about it. I literally was meeting with them to collect data so I could be better.
I love it.
And so I really didn't feel anything. I didn't have any plans other than I want to talk. I want to see how your life is going after the, whatever. But really, I was coming for me to get what I needed. We didn't make it to the next stage, what actually happened? What turned you off?
Yeah.
And they would give me answers and I go work on it.
There you go. I love it.
That literally, it was a data collection stage. That's funny to me nowadays because I wasn't intentionally collecting data so I can say I was collecting data.
Got it.
For like the next generation that I'm trying to impart information to. I was collecting it for me and only me.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. It wasn't for no book or nothing. It was for me so I can be better. So when I say I was restoring the love for myself, hence the title of the show, right? Or the podcast.
Yeah.
Love Restored. And then I also, to connect it, I have a love restoration club that's curated specifically for Black women. So that's a paid group coaching program that I have specifically for Black women, but it's all tied together.
Hold on.
Okay.
Love Restoration Club. And how can we find out about that?
Yeah, so the Love Restoration Club is, like I said, it's specifically for Black women. That space that I talked about earlier on how we get to come together and talk about all of the things, if you will. I wanted to create that space and then have Black women that were in it, right? And so you asked the question, how can we get there?
Where
right?
is it? Yeah.
I know. Let me get you the correct link because otherwise you're gonna be going somewhere, then you're gonna be looking like what? Okay, I feel like this is the one. Okay, yes, this is the one. So can I put it down in the link for you?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay, and then I can talk about it. So again, if you are not a Black woman, then just don't, because we need a space for us. It's okay. So it's only for Black women, but the link is bit.ly/restoring your love, all lowercase letters. And it literally, it's all tied together. Thank you right there. Restoring your love. This is how you can be a part of that group. It is a community of like-minded women that are coming together to say, I need to start working on me. Now, if you're in a relationship or in a marriage, we absolutely talk about that. But the first person we need to talk about is you.
Wow.
So we are going to reconnect you with you. We are going to help you understand why you are you and why you show up the way that you do. There is some homework to be done, right? Because the only way you can change your life, the only way that you can get to the next level is by taking action. And I don't care if you're scared.
Ooh, y'all.
If you want to curate and to create the life that you claim that you want, you got to do some work to get it.
Got to do some work.
And I can't do it for you.
Absolutely.
I can help guide you on the way. I can share some strategies and tools that I absolutely know that work to help you get the results that you want. But I can't do the work for you. Right. It's all personal. So we take a deep dive each love cycle is 90 days. That's what it's called, love cycle. So each love cycle is 90 days. And then after the 90 days, you decide if you want to re-up. The longest client that I've had currently is 2 years.
Wow. And how's that going?
It's going beautifully. It's going to be, each cycle, they come in and go out, right? But the best results, of course, the longer that you stay in. But it's not just you staying in. It's not just about the money. What it is about is you seeing your transformation. You getting stronger. Your self-esteem skyrocketing. And then you just becoming you coming there to not only impart your, to get what you need, but you're also helping others. You're also seeing the community of women that's growing together and get to know each other's names. You get to hear each other's stories, and you're like, I thought I was alone in that. I'm not.
Right. Absolutely.
Thank you for saying that to me, because I thought I was alone. I am not alone here. So
I love
all of it. I mean, I love it all. That is where I really thrive, because we come together. It is virtual, so you can join wherever you're at, and we meet a specific day, specific time. We read relationship related books, as well as mindset books, as well as I'm a Christian. We talk about God. We even pray together every single time. We have a lot of stuff going on there. We do challenges within the group. Everything is to help you grow. Everything is to help you become more aware. Everything is to wake you up.
Come on. I love that.
Everything.
I love it. So this almost sounds like a movement of sorts.
You know, this is not the first time I heard that. I don't know if I didn't start it to become a movement.
Right.
I just know we needed it. So I'll take it. I'll take it as a movement.
Right. And the reason why I say that is because it is so necessary in our community. Because something that you said when you first started introducing yourself and talking about Love Restored and what it is and what it isn't, I heard you say that in our community, what Black women deal with regularly, you know, that, and I cannot speak for any other race because I don't know, because guess what? I'm a sister, right? I'm Black. But what I will say is that our experiences are different when it comes to self-love because of the beauty standards in this country. What it means for us to be loved is meant by these Eurocentric values that have been, bestowed upon us since we were little girls. And so we're dealing with that. And so we also dealing with what our, like our physical attributes are supposed to look like. Conversation we had right before the call, right? What are we supposed to look like? Are we supposed to be stick thin based upon these values that have been put out there? So we're dealing with that. And a lot of us with our ancestry and our DNA is telling us we're built like this. And now we're dealing with that. So Eurocentric values of what our beauty is, our hair, it's different, and our skin color. So we're dealing with all of that. And then on top of that, we're coming from, second or third generation removed from those who were in chains. So we're dealing with the culture of that. And then, like you were saying, each generation gets better, but we're literally, our age group, we're the third generation, most of us, removed from that era. And so we're dealing with the love culture from that. The love culture said, I got to protect my man. I got to protect my family. I can't really talk about love because all we got to do is survive. Right. So when we're in that survival mode, remember, I just talked about partnership and all of the things that came with it with what I was raised. And then you clarified for me, that came from survival. So we as Black women are dealing with all of that. Then we got to go to work and we got to code switch.
Okay.
So all of this is encompassed in how we see and value ourselves. Because then we got to come home, because by all accounts, Black women are the most educated group of people in the US of A.
Yes, we are.
And we are, by all accounts, I hate to say it, we're some of the biggest breadwinners as single women. We are. And that shift is starting to take a toll on some of our relationships and our marriages. But I also believe, so yes, that's one part of it. But I also believe that is because of the way that society has set it up for our men to only identify themselves with their title, their career. And so a lot of our brothers don't see the value that they are bringing to the relationship or marriage outside of that career, that title. And then the second piece of it is when me, as the breadwinner, has a conversation or tries to talk to you, immediately you feel insecure because I'm the breadwinner. And I've heard plenty of conversations from other women to say that what they've heard is, you wouldn't talk to me if I made more than you. Or like, let me rephrase it. You wouldn't talk to me like that if I did.
Right. And that's actually false. It's actually false. But by the same token, it's creating another dynamic in our relationships that, you know, we solve one thing and then here comes something else that now has to be solved. However, this is the beauty of us growing and continuously moving forward. We don't have to stay stuck in a box. So although it's starting to create something else, I believe that even if we get in front of that and start just tackling that and letting our men know, I am the breadwinner. I'm actually proud to be the breadwinner, but also understand this has nothing to do with the way that I see you. Your insecurities are coming up. Because there have also been plenty of women that I spoke to, as well as I've heard this in my own home, that I've never once brought up me being the breadwinner. You have. So that is not my controlling or showing you that I am the power woman. That is your insecurity coming to the surface. And whenever insecurities come to the surface, this is when the breakdown starts to happen. Because instead of seeing what the issue is, or saying, okay, how else can I, and what else can I do to feel like I'm still the man in the house? How can I show up in a way without this title, or without me feeling like because I'm making less than her that I am not the man? We got to do better in that area.
Wow.
We got to do better in that area. Because if we're going to stay together, otherwise you might walk, meaning the man, you might walk away and go to another. And now I'm finding that there are so many of us that are, we're basically about to be obsolete as a 100% Black person. That's the best way I know how to put it.
Wow.
We're starting to get obsolete because everybody's mixing. So that's a different
rule. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. And so we're seeing a lot more of that. But still, when we're talking about Black women, and what we're dealing with, and the fact that we're resourceful because we've had to be. We had to be. There was nobody that was coddling.
Ain't no option. I can't come home and I don't have nobody else to pass the torch to.
No.
I am the torch.
Come on. I'm the table, I'm the chairs, I'm the material to make the table and the chairs. So when y'all talking about, oh, well, what you bringing to the table, I am the table. Right. I'm the material that makes the table. Do you not get that? And it's because we had to, because if we didn't, and I can say this from my personal experience, being a woman who has been single as long as I've had breath in my body. And I mean that from a marriage perspective, because, you know, having children does not require you to be in a relationship. Let's talk about that, right? And now that I'm older, I recognize now I was never in one. You know, so let's see, that's a whole can of worms right there. Yeah, it fell, and it's okay. Let's keep going. So we're talking about a whole can of worms right there. How many of us can recognize and acknowledge the fact that we've never been in a relationship? We were physical with folks, but we were in relationships.
That's deep. Okay? That's deep.
And so when I recognized where I was, then I had to do that soul searching that you were talking about, where, you know, was it me? Hello? So was it you? Was I the issue? And even in the situation that I'm currently in right now, I'm treading water so lightly because I recognize that I have specific tendencies and I need to check myself because I'm too old to go backwards. And I only have a few more good years left, right? So I don't have time to play trying to find a husband, because ultimately I would like to marry. Okay. But I want to marry because I want to partner and learn to love and to have a friend. See, now it's time to sit on the front porch and swing, you know, because it ain't too much more you can do at this age. No way, you know. But
you still can do a whole lot.
Oh, we might go on a cruise or two, you know. But hey,
enjoy life. That's
enjoying life. I would love, and see, I'm an empty nester now, right? So my children are independent and they're doing their things and all of that. So that's a whole different ball of wax. But what my point is in saying all of this is that recognizing that Black women have had to deal with so much. I've had to come home and figure out how I was going to feed my babies, especially when I was in graduate school and I wasn't working full time because I could not. My first year in graduate school, I could not work.
Yeah.
So that was a requirement, or I was out. Ooh. And so I had to figure, oh yeah, it was no joke. And so I had to go to churches. I had to, because there was no support. No, baby daddy, what? Child support, you ain't getting nothing from me. You know? Yeah. And so we're dealing with that. So you know what? Rather than me continue to beg or take you to court, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. So again, how am I going to keep the lights on? How am I going to do this? How am I going to pay the car note? What are you following? I don't even have time to even focus on love, let alone self-love.
Right.
Am I making sense?
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Sense.
Yeah.
More sense than you know. And I'm sure the listeners, the viewers absolutely understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're not alone, sis. You are not alone.
And it's good to know that. So your group that we were just talking about, restoring your love. Listen, I don't even, am I in the group? Do I need to be? Listen,
I feel like you need to be,
girl. Wait.
But you are not. You are not in it. But I feel like you need to be.
It sounds like I need to be in the group and get my whole emotional, personal self together.
Come get it together.
Woo, my word, this is amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen. Grab your pens and your paper, because I don't know if you all have paid attention. Marshaun, you have been dropping gems throughout this entire conversation. You really have. And you're like, huh? How really? Yes. So you're talking about assessing who you are so you can be better.
Yes.
That's huge. And a lot of us are not willing to do that because we always right as far as we're concerned. They always wrong. And acknowledging the fact that you said that sometimes you are at fault, ladies. It ain't always him.
No, it's not.
Because when you call your homegirl crying, the first thing we ask is, what he do?
Right.
So that's another nugget that you just brought up. Understanding that it's okay to go back and review so you can be better.
But that's a must.
It's a must. And so, yeah, you've been dropping some nuggets, ma'am. I really want you to recognize that.